Welcome once again to HBR Podcast, where at the beginning of our podcast, we like to do a little interview with whoever is going to be our guest, right? And we call this little segment "Mind Your Business," right? Because we only bring business people on here. And so, Jesus, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know, your name, who you're with, and where we can find you on social media.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm Jesus Hernandez with Clear Choice Home Loans. Just want to come out here and say, thank you, Nate, for having us. And you guys can find me on Facebook and all social media as Apply with Jesus.
Cool. Do you own that domain? Apply with Jesus?
I do.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Well, they laughed at me at the beginning, but it was very practical.
Yeah.
Catchy.
It's easy to remember.
Applywithjesus.com.
So,
can find it.
So I used to have a domain called Why Live Like Bees, and it was really catchy. Like people used to look it up,
Yeah.
But so, anyways, so let's get I guess into what I wanted to talk to you about, right? And so I guess I kind of want to get to know you a little bit, kind of introduce you to the people that watch our podcast. So the first segment that I like to do with you is the why segment, right? So why is Jesus a mortgage broker?
It's very, I'll start off from truthfully, as I started as an entrepreneur. My dad has been an entrepreneur all his life, in the trucking business. I always saw the highs, the lows. But then after that, I want to have a vehicle where I was able to hire my family. I was able to hire friends, grow with people in something that I enjoyed, which is lending for me.
That's pretty cool, man. And I think that's one of the reasons we kind of hit off and we hung out a lot is because, we both inculcate our business with our family. We like to work closely with our family. But let me ask you this. Why have so many MLOs left the business completely? Or why are so many MLOs switching to other brokerages right now? What's going on in the industry? Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, the first one is going to be the market that you're in. You got to know that this past 2-3 years have seen the market go from abundance to now, we'd like to say famine. This is where the skilled professionals are standing out. And I feel like, the market has adjusted where if you weren't cut out for a sales position, you weren't going to get any freebies. You weren't going to get any hand-me-downs. Every client that you have now is either going to come to you with the options, or you're going to have to work and try to help that client out. So if you ask me, it's just natural attrition because this is a true sales position that involves you being a professional, knowing your craft, and knowing how to identify what you're strong at.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and I guess on the real estate side, right, as a brokerage, it's kind of the same too with our real estate agents. It's like, hey, it's sales time. What are you doing?
Yeah, there's no sitting around, and if you are, you're probably not making money, and you're probably thinking about what else can I do part time to offset the income that you could have potentially made, during COVID times, during what we call the easy times. Now we're in the tougher times. This is the build character times.
Yeah, definitely. So what drives you to keep growing in this industry? I mean, it's obviously going through a tough time. What is that drive that you have for that?
I'm going to tell you, when you grow up in this business and you see professionals, you see people that started out in the industry. For me, I've been able to witness not just myself, but friends and family grow in this business. So as we now, all these friends that I brought in the business a couple of years ago grew, now they've created businesses. And what are we doing? We're pushing each other up. We're supporting each other. But I'll tell you, for me, friends and family do work with me in the business. And as me, at one point I wanted to grow. Now their goals, their dreams, they're now seeing this as a profession. And so what comes with being a professional? Constant growth, constant evolution. And so for me, knowing that my lid in business, my ceiling has to keep rising every year, because now thankfully you get make good money, but the main income that you made last year now doesn't apply to this year because more people are wanting to grow, to achieve more dreams. And so you're the leader, you're the entrepreneur that has to set the vision for the others. And so if your vision doesn't support what they're trying to accomplish, they're probably looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
So for me, knowing that I have to continuously increase my ceiling, increase my belief, keep pushing everybody up, causes me to grow professionally, financially, across the board.
So what traits were you born with that really help you, to continuously grow in this industry?
I feel like I have a constant desire for knowledge. And in the real estate industry, changes happen so often, from compliance. Recently, 2024 was a big year for real estate agents, but constant change in our industry causes you to continue being successful. But also, I'll tell you, the constant, and I was just thinking about everything that you were telling me. Well, send me the question one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry about
what
that.
traits were you born with that help you constantly
Yes.
grow?
So thank you. The other one is I love problem solving.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
if you give me a puzzle, I'm gonna solve it. You give me a Rubik's cube, I'm gonna solve it. So when you give me in my profession alone, I love solving potential issues that come up, such as a client that doesn't qualify with another lender tells you, "Hey, you don't fit the mold." Well, what can we do to problem solve it? And that's where I love my craft, because it allows me to exercise something that I feel like that was my God-given talent.
Yeah. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah, think outside the box, or put yourself in the client's shoes and seeing, if I was you, what would I do to make it work? Yeah.
Okay. So this is shout out time right here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all have those day ones, or those supporters who contributed the most to the success that you have now, and I want you to shout them out. I want you to say their name, their social media, their whoever it is. You have to shout that person. And if it's more than one, if there's more than one, shout them all out. But I'm limiting it to 5.
I do have a lot of mentors that I at the beginning, and I we've had in a previous podcast, I've had people that I looked up to and that guided me even before I got into the real estate industry. One of the gentlemen that brought me in and just taught me how to become elite, how to become a professional. I don't say this enough, but Rudy Sarate.
Rudy Sarate, okay.
Rudy Sarate brought me into the industry and in 2015, and just really showed me the ropes and just took me under his wing. From there, we brought on a couple of friends to become partners, and so Franklin Warrens, Jose Alvarez, these guys were big contributors, because now we shared the same goal. We wanted to take care of our families. We wanted to grow. We had a thirst for success. We had a chip on our shoulders because we wanted to provide for our families and wanted to make our families proud. So,
Well, so there you go. Shout out to
Rudy, Jose, and Franklin.
There we go.
And then
man.
I can't forget, because they were there from the second year of my family. This is a family business for us, and so from my sister to my wife to my younger brothers, they're all in the business.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
these guys are a constant.
And I really admire that about you. I think I've said it before, but because that was my dream too. I mean, and unfortunately, I always say, I wish everybody would listen to me and people would join me, and a lot of people didn't. But I mean, I turn and look, and I see that I do have a lot of family with me, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, so well, you know what? I'm gonna nurture the ones that did.
Yeah, and these guys are, in their own merit. I've gotten a chance to work with them. They're true professionals, and they are mirroring what the groundwork of what you set up a few years ago. Yeah. So congrats on that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So now let's get to you. Let's get to your story, okay? Your origin story, okay? If Hollywood came knocking, which it looks like Hollywood is already knocking on Texas's door, right? Hollywood came knocking and say, hey, you know what, man? I want to know the Jesus Hernandez story. Go. Pitch.
Oh, that's a good one. So, I like to say that I stumbled on a lot of things. I tried out a lot of different types of businesses, from multi-level marketing to, working at banks. Everything I tried, I did my best. I tried to do my best at, and I just put my all. When I found the vehicle that I felt like this was where I was going to raise my family, I just went in on it. I didn't give up. It wasn't in the highs when I came into the business. I felt like in 2015, 2016, the real estate industry was going through some changes on our end. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't the best time to come in, but it didn't stop me from being who I am. And I just knew that, when there wasn't a lot of loan closings, of everything was going south, I just had to keep going. I had to keep continue. Adversity hit at every turn that I came, and I just didn't know how to stop. I just knew that my dreams were not negotiable. I burnt every bridge with every employer that I did before lending. Even though thankfully, I think I like to say I could always go back, but mentally I burnt every bridge and I said, this was it. I will die or I will make this work. And that's really what happened.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to burn that bridge so you won't go back.
Yeah. So mentally, I burned the bridges.
Yeah. So if you had to model your career after a current business mogul, who would you model it after?
That's a really good question, and I was trying to come up with an answer. I mean, I've heard of all the PayPal mafia. I've heard of all these businesses where they started in a garage. Well, for me, I didn't start in a garage, but I started in the kitchen when we opened the business. I opened the office in my formal dining room with my friends and family. So I know that I don't have a specific person, I would say. I just know that there's a lot of businesses where you start out with friends, you start out with family, and from there, obviously companies come from it. And so I feel like I've heard Microsoft, I've heard Apple had it, just a lot of businesses. So your Bezos of the world that, just had a hunger and didn't know what they were doing, but they figured it out as they were going. And then even now, they're trying to streamline their processes and know what works, what doesn't work, and try to get better every day. Try to get better and know that what you start is not where you're going. The things that you're going through right now will be an afterthought in 2-3 years. And the goal is that you continue on your pursuit for progression, not perfection, but progression. Because in this business, in business in general, things aren't going to go your way all the time, if any. But you make the best of what you have in front of you, and I feel like that's what we've done. Is we've adjusted. We've seen that businesses that succeeded are the ones that didn't stop.
True. They failed more times.
Yeah.
So, was there ever a time in your career that into this build up to what you have now, to the success that you've got, that you have got caught up working so hard that you lost track of yourself?
I think that every business owner out there will agree with me that it's going to happen more often than you'd like.
Yeah.
It's very cyclical because you are so obsessed, you are so honed in on your goals, on making sure that your business survives adversity, that it'll happen. And it takes sometimes a knockdown from either business decision or market to understand that, hey, I'm human. Adversity is going to come at all times. So you find yourself coming back to who you are and just saying, you know what? I let adversity hit. I'm not being myself. But you know what? There's only one life. You learn from the mistakes you make and you learn from the adversity that you do, and you find yourself. You find yourself in the way that you take a step back and you say, I can do this. I am my person. I have my imperfections, and I have my positives. I have the things that I'm really good at, and you focus again on the things that you're really good at. But then you continue.
Awesome, man. So now, as a professional, right? And this is something that I never put in the equation in my climb to be a professional in real estate, right? Was that my weaknesses were going to carry on with me. So I didn't know that every professional has a weakness.
Yeah.
What are your 2 weaknesses as a business professional?
Starting from the bottom, you have to do everything from the beginning. You have to know your craft from point A to point Z. Well, as you're learning what you're good at, what you're bad at, you still try to do everything. So one of the things that I'm still learning and as I'm growing is delegation.
Yeah.
there's things that you no longer can do. And even though you might be better at with, than others, time isn't on your side. So as the business scales, as you grow, you have find yourself needing to delegate more and more tasks. Sometimes it's everyday decisions. Sometimes it's business decisions. You have to trust others around you to help you with expansion of business, because truthfully, you can't do everything.
Yeah.
You can try to do everything at the beginning, but as your business grows, you have to delegate a lot of things. So right now, I feel like that's one of my major weaknesses that we're constantly working on. And then the other one is the constant pursuit of problem solving. You give me a problem, and sometimes they were easy, sometimes they were so hard, but I always try to find a solution for the problems. In the beginning, I felt like problem solving some very difficult loans, very difficult files allow me to, yes, experience, learn what works, what doesn't work. But what ends up happening is you eat up a lot of time.
Yes.
You're only given 24 hours a day. And so if you spent 5-6 hours on one solution, well, there goes your day. And so I feel like the ability to now say, I can do it, but I can't do it anymore because time is not on your side.
Yeah.
So I would tell you that for sure, the ability to say no on problem solving, even though it's my true passion, it's me resolving problems. It's whether it's a hurdle in real estate, in business, family, being able to just continuously solve problems. That's my passion.
That's awesome, man. Well, I thank you for coming on and interviewing with us. We're about to start the podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, so just, once again, thank you for this is your third, you're gonna be your third podcast.
Yeah, third podcast.
So, we definitely love having you on the podcast, because you always bring that professionalism. And like I said, I really admire your passion for your business and family, which is something that we do here.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I'm thankful for you having me. We're really, as a business, we've been able to grow in line with your business, and we're appreciative of how much support, Lionsgate has helped us on our side, on the professional side, and we continue to, we want to continue that growth. We want to continue adding value to you guys. So me coming on this podcast I feel like it's helping me become better, open my mind, and just experience, different point of views. Yes, in front of a camera that initially when I came, I couldn't be in front of a camera.
I remember the first time you came. I want to say that's why we brought you in a second time.
Yeah,
and then the third time, that was your idea. I was like, oh, all right, come on.
Yeah. Pues ya me quitaron el miedo. Yeah. I feel like I can be on a camera and I can be comfortable.
That's good, man. That's good.
But it's with you guys, with your help. So
man, I no, it's all you, bro. So yeah, man. So listen, thank you for coming. We're gonna get ready for this podcast.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cut.